We follow the ideals of Woodrow Wilson. We want to make the world safe for democracy, but sometimes democracy isn't viable in certain states.
What are you doing? I don't know if Kagami is a Christian, but he admires Christianity and Jesus and his principles.
That's good.
Yeah, he grew up Catholic and he got, I think, quite bitter because.
Yeah, Josh Ruga. It's going pretty well. I just want to give a shout out to the podcast that myself and Ryan Miller started, Pirates Corner. You can find us at Pirates Corner. If you just type it into YouTube, that's where we're airing our podcasts.
Awesome. Sorry. So there was apparently no sound.
Okay.
So everyone, again, this is Anthony DiNardo from the North Shore 9. This is NS9 Live, sponsored by Pod Hub Network. We don't have Ryan Alexander on with us. We do have Josh Ruga. You heard his intro because I only muted myself. There's that. But yeah, so you started a podcast. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it was kind of Ryan Miller was asking me about my involvement with you guys with North Shore 9, and he was like, oh, we should start a podcast. So Ryan's a Pirates fan who actually lives in the same town as me in South Jersey. So finding another Pirates fan in South Jersey was like really cool for me. He's a bit younger than me. I actually coached him when he was playing Little League baseball, stuff like that. So I've known him for a while. Yeah. So
So how old is he?
He's either 16 or 17.
So a young buck that knows nothing about baseball, because obviously he was coached by you.
Oh, he's got to know something about baseball. Plus he continues to learn on a daily basis. So, yeah.
It's good to know, man. So I'm glad you can make it. Obviously, there's no guardrails preventing you from being on the show tonight, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Your knee is in full intact?
Yep, I'm good to go. I could smoke at Wagner to Kutch in a 40-yard dash right now. I actually wake up faster than his fastest 40-yard dash time ever.
So you wake up like this, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's going to happen, right? For people that might not know, apparently there's been some beef between Ruga and Wagner to Kutch. And it's been set up, right? Our next live show, you guys are going to run the 40-yard dash, right? You're not going to back out, right?
No.
All right.
That would be something that he would do.
So,
rumor is that it might happen in Florida as spring training. So we'll see what happens.
Are you coming down?
I'm kind of planning something right now. So yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I know he's talked about it. Actually, when I had a show, he talked about it. Yeah, that'd be cool if you can come down. He's down. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what. We're talking about coming down to Bradenton for spring training. Why don't we get on it? The Pirates, they broke camp, right? Mostly everyone. It seems like a good amount of people are there, which is glad to see. The Pirates put out this video. We'll play. It's a little bit inspiring. It gets me pumped up. So, but yeah, I mean, what's your takeaway? Does this even matter? Does anything you take anything away from this at all?
I think I saw some video of Will Craig hitting rockets, so that was encouraging. He's going to be a key player for this year's team. If he's hitting some balls over the fence, I'll take that.
When you say this year's team, you talking about the actual Pirates team?
Yes, he should debut this season, probably July, and like it appears is going to happen to Chisenhall. Will Craig will be a guy that's a key player off the bench. They'll find spots for him. He did play third base in college, so first, third, maybe he'll learn a little bit of outfield this year. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Awesome. Hey, Creative Drifter, thanks a lot. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So are you making? I mean, you're making this statement, the bold prediction that not only he's gonna appear this year, right? But are you saying that he's basically surpassing Ozuna? Is Ozuna's tenure just done with us now? It's Will Craig's to take over.
If Will Craig learns some outfield, then he essentially just takes over that role. And yeah, Ozuna, he has some good qualities, but just he doesn't do anything really, really well. So
yeah, I hear you on that, man. That's for sure. So I'll tell you what. If that happens, I think I'd be down with that because I think we feel. I don't know. I would say you've been probably pretty. I'm not going to say high on Ozuna, but you've liked what he brought. You like the cut of his jib, as they might say.
I don't think you like.
But
yeah,
if Will Craig can surpass that, I think that's going to be good because we need something better. Honestly, in my mind, we do. And he's not getting the play time. Maybe he could develop into something better if he got more at bats, possibly.
Yeah.
The power's there, but I just don't trust him as like a true backup guy coming off the bench is going to do something. Will Craig had a nice season last year, so I'll take that.
Yeah. Yep, but both of them only really defend first base really well. So that's why Ozuna really hasn't gotten much in terms of playing time is because he doesn't really play defense anywhere else. So
yeah, try him at third. But I'll say the same thing. And also, Ian, I appreciate you following us to the bar. Take some shots for me. Don't get any trivia questions wrong in order to do it, though. And then, yeah, shout-outs to Pirates Corner.
I don't understand.
yep.
And, hey, Josh, so Pirates Corner wants to know, your partner in crime, whose Pirate shirt is that you have on?
It is a Chris Archer T-shirt.
Show him the guns.
My man, right there, like that. Do I need to turn around to show everybody Archer, or do you guys trust me?
I think we trust you.
Yeah,
All right, so we just talked about, of course, training, or not really training camp breaking, but camp breaking. There was something else that was really nice to see. Let's go and play that footage.
Yeah.
Our boy Polanco, man. He's swinging, hitting the ball off the tee. Now, we talked about this 2 weeks ago when I had Smitty on. He was throwing the medicine ball, how encouraging that was. But now he's swinging off a tee. You see that swing right there? I mean, that's pretty encouraging, man. What do you think? I mean, could we see this guy in May?
I think we could see him in late April because that's the end. Like that's the month where his initial time frame is, the earliest time frame. I actually thought there was like something to do with his knee that turned out to be just a bone bruise. So being that it's just a shoulder, finely tuned athlete healing up.
Finely tuned athlete. I like it.
Yeah. That's something that all the finely tuned athletes have in common. They heal fast. So.
And I mean, you would know. So.
I know from experience.
Right.
I busted. I've had some injuries here and there. So. But that's why I mentioned Chisenhall as like a great bench option just a few minutes ago. And that's why what I'm going to get to at the end of this show. That's why I have the Pirates winning a little bit higher of a win total than some of the other Pirates fans out there. So a full season of Polanco is huge for the Pirates.
So here's my follow-up to that. And by the way, Smitty, this does suck. So what if Polanco does come back by late April? I mean, that's great. That's very opportunistic. I was trying to play it like, okay, let's not expect him until July. Because that was more like on the later end of that spectrum. So that's why I like the Chisenhall move. Now, if we're not going to need him as much, that's even better. But here's the thing. It's his shoulder. And we see guys, I mean, Chris Bryant's like a really good example too. We see guys that come after these shoulder problems. Power's possibly not going to be there, like what do you expect out of Polanco? So even if he does come back early, what are your expectations? If Polanco's here, end of April, we'll say April 28th on my birthday, he comes back. What are your expectations the rest of the season?
I expect him to hit more than 20 home runs.
Still?
And yeah, more than 20 home runs.
Okay.
He's there. And if he was able to play the full season, I'd expect him to make a push for 30. But that would be, like this isn't really shoulder problems. This was more a tear that resulted from like a impact trauma to the shoulder. So it's healing up and it looks good. And it's not like something that we expect to linger because it was a stupid slide. It's done and over with. And yeah, don't mess with your shoulder anymore.
Well, Trading Well is outdoing you. Trading Well says he's hitting 40 homers. So get out of here, Ruga. Your prediction means nothing.
I like mine better.
I think I'll go on the safe route. And I'll say we'll get close to 20.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's encouraging. You see the swing right there. It looks good. I think if anything, like the past 2 off seasons, this being the third one, realistically has shown Polanco is kind of a freak. Okay. I mean, we saw the first one. Now he bulked up tremendously. Maybe that was like a disadvantage for him. So last year he did another type of workout, more flexibility, and we saw the breakout year. But I mean, the past 2 off seasons, we see this guy does. I mean, Marte's a workout freak too, and he's on record saying that he quit. He dropped out on Polanco's workouts because he couldn't keep up with him. You know, now he gets his injury. He comes back. He's looking good. So I mean, if you're gonna say one thing about Polanco, I'm gonna say that dude's anti-lazy for all the doubters out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just his gait. People like get the impression that he's lazy, but as long as his jumps are good, he's gonna get to the balls that he needs to get to in the outfield. He's just gotta be sharp on the jumps, and then he'll potentially be a positive defender out there and right. And yeah, at the plate, I expect a really solid season from him. So
yeah, I do hope so. And your counterpoint again, Pirates Corner. He wants me to ask you about Mel Rojas Jr. because we know that's your boy, and he wants to know if he can take over Dickerson's job.
Well, he accepted at least a 1-year extension back in Korea. So he's going back to Korea. I was really disappointed because he was walking around the winter meetings looking for a job, and I tweeted out Pirates should sign him. He retweeted me and everything.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that's your boy.
Yeah. He's a good player, and he was cranking some bombs in Korea. So I was seeing like a scenario, like he looks like he bulked up. So it's kind of like the Eric Demps signing for the Brewers. Not quite on that level from a power standpoint, but a guy who's got some sneaky good power now. And he didn't lose much speed. I'm pretty sure he's playing center field. And then in order to try and fit in with the Pirates, he was actually working out a ton at third base right after he got back to the Dominican Republic.
He needs to get on shortstop.
Yeah. Well, he may have bulked up too much for that.
Oh, I don't care. If he can hit 40 homers for the Pirates, I don't care. So just to back up a little bit, because he said, can he take Dickerson's job? I mean, there's the time length, right? He got just a 1-year deal. Dickerson's only 1 year left, right? Just interchange them, right? We're good.
It could work. It could work. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about some moves that just happened. So just real briefly. So yesterday, Yasmani Grandal signs a 1-year deal with the Brewers, $18.25 million, which really pisses me off because I called about the Pirates thinking about doing a 1-year deal with Grandal. So we don't get that. And then today, Jed Lowry signs a 2-year, $20 million with the Mets, which I believe is just a steal. Steal. $10 million a year for that guy?
Yeah, your guy comes off the market where you were looking to upgrade in a different area other than shortstop. I was listening to the podcast from Sunday, so I listened to all of it. But my guy, who's my runner-up to my top shortstop option, who we're going to get to in a second here, he came off the board. So now it looks like my second to the top option, it'll be Marwin Gonzalez. But, yeah.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we hold off on those guys? Let's talk about your top dog right now, because you said you want to say a few words about him. So go ahead. Floor is yours.
Yeah. This is what I got. Okay, so my top shortstop option for the Pirates is Manny Machado. This might not sound realistic to any Pirates fans out there, but it makes so much sense for this team. And
speak to them. They want to hear you, Ruga. Let them know.
We got a new television deal coming up after this season. Okay, so we got our owner, the great Bob Nutting. I just called him the great Bob Nutting. I hope that doesn't drive away any of our viewers.
We just lost all the followers.
So he took over. Okay, I was doing some research on this. He took over as the principal owner, became Mr. 51% back in 2007. Now, there's a chance he bought some more shares from that point forward, but it's really not on public record anywhere. The Pirates as a team jumped in value as soon as he took over because he started making all these good investments. Because he's not cheap, he actually puts his money where his mouth is and invests in worthwhile investments for the team that's going to make the team better. So he is looking to negotiate that new television contract, which will likely take the Pirates from about $20 million annually, which is just an atrocious, terrible number. It's worst in the league. Okay, and at the All-Star break last year, they had the 6th highest rating in all of baseball. 5+% of households were watching the Pirates every time they took the field on television. So the network is robbing the Pirates blind, and they need something that's going to kind of win the network over and get that television deal into the 65, 70, 75 million range. Okay, that they need that contract to be at annually moving forward. So if you sign Manny Machado, that is the key piece in the negotiation with the network that you need to get that deal done at the number you want. And it more than pays his contract if you look at it from a mathematical standpoint. Now, if we're assuming that Bob Nutting is 51% owner, okay, then it's safe to assume, okay, even if he's 60% owner right now, it's safe to assume they've spent out every dollar he has permission to spend as 60% owner of the Pirates. Because even if he's 60% owner, there's other people that own 40% of the team combined. And they need to foot the bill whenever that payroll goes over a certain number. The Pirates having a $100 million payroll in 2017, while that's only 100 out of about 230 million they made that year, that's revenue. Okay, so the payroll is only going to be 40%, maybe 50% of revenue. If you look at teams around baseball, you can argue they're cheap, but yeah. So what you're looking at is the team spent out to the max of what Bob Nutting has permission to spend. So because the television contract, if it goes from 20 million to 75 million, is bringing back so much more revenue, then he may be able to make the argument and sell the other shareholders on footing the bill for Manny Machado. So I've got a few things that kind of point in that direction. So there was 3 mystery teams that were rumored to meet with Machado's agent at the winter meetings. Well,
now I knew 3 teams were meeting. Was it 3 mystery teams on top of those 3 teams too?
Yes. Yeah, there were 3 teams. So a total of 6 teams that were scheduled.
I knew of 1.
Yeah. So we're not sure exactly. We can't confirm or deny whether or not one of those was the Pittsburgh Pirates. Right. But middle of the week, all of a sudden, they were waking up, getting stuff done around 10 o'clock, meeting with everybody. All of a sudden, by lunchtime, Ivan Nova's traded, freeing up $9.2 million in the 2019 budget, which in this case, if you want to take speculation to the next level, you say that legitimizes a potential offer that they just put on the table. That doesn't necessarily mean anything other than, well, here's what I got. Were the Pirates freeing up money for Machado?
You could look at it as, I mean, that's their way. You know, they don't have, of course, they don't have an unlimited budget. We all know that they have constraints. But this is a way of opening up a bigger move. Getting rid of Nova. He wasn't that bad of a pitcher, obviously. He was, as a number 5 starter, he was good. But for the money he was making, I mean, we could fill in that void easily. So why not reallocate those funds somewhere else? So, right, like it was like the precursor to another move that was coming.
Yeah. So, or was that the White Sox acquiring Ivan Nova to say, "Oh, we're contenders now because we've got Nova"?
No, they signed John Jay, man.
they signed. They signed Machado's whole family.
I know, right? They got Yonder over there. They got John Jay. They got what's the other guy? Who else? Oh shoot.
I don't know, but there was like some joke going around Twitter with like his wife playing a position.
She might be there too.
Then I think it was Tim Anderson at shortstop. So no Machado. So Machado said publicly he doesn't really want to go to a rebuilding team. So if we think about this for a second, we've got the Yankees, Phillies, White Sox. Mm-hmm. The Phillies and White Sox are arguably rebuilding. If the Phillies are not putting themselves in the category
I can say,
of
just
rebuilding,
stop you real quick. I mean, the White Sox definitely. I think the Phillies are on the tail end of it. Like Machado, I think you could safely say if Machado was there, that is like the end of the rebuild. You know what I mean? Like now we're a team. Now we have to build with them. You could argue it. Now I am not going to argue that they are, but I think others would argue that.
Yeah, well, I think they're still 2 starting pitchers away from being a playoff team.
I can agree.
Even if they had a Machado, because Machado would be just a minimal.
Machado and Bryce Harper.
Well, then that changes things because then their offense is going to take over games. But with Machado, as the Phillies, you're upgrading marginally, okay? You're getting better defensively at third base and with the bat. But how much better are you getting with the bat, say, Franco continues to build on what was a really nice season for him last year? I get that the WAR is going to be a bit different.
Defense is atrocious. Yeah.
Franco?
Yeah.
Well, he can improve that with effort, but he's a worthwhile third baseman. But they're not playing Machado at shortstop because they already got Segura. So it's really they could add maybe 4 wins to their roster by adding Machado. So
and I think that's potentially part of it too, like with the Phillies. So I mean, you're talking about them. Like I mean, they're in my eyes, like they're in the rebuild. I think they're at the tail end of it. I mean, it's like it's time to go. Machado kind of sealed that for them, but also Machado says, like you're saying, where does he fit? Like this guy wants to play shortstop. It's not going to be there. They got Segura, and I think too, like just again, like that fit. I mean, Phillies are just getting pieces, and like there's no fits. I mean, look at all the mess they made last year, and like they're still trying to fix that. They traded Carlos Santana now, but I don't see that fit there being perfect. Now the Yankees, I can see making a lot of sense,
but they have no formal offer at this time.
They don't want.
They may have yanked that
offer.
offer.
Right.
Yeah, they may have yanked that offer because they have a dude who rakes in Andujar at third base, and they believe in Tulowitzki at shortstop. So kind of making that move. Either way, if they signed a second baseman and move Gleyber Torres over to shortstop, whatever it was going to be, they kind of closed the door on Machado unless they would have to kind of make some moves. And they're not offering the largest offer reported out there is 8 years, $200 million from the White Sox for Machado. The Phillies seem to be preoccupied with Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So going into Machado's free agent tour, there were rumored to be 4 cities he was visiting. Okay, So here's where I'm going to go a little bit further with this speculation. Okay, he was rumored to be visiting 4 cities. John Heyman comes out and completely shuts down the mystery team, but that rumor came out of Machado's camp. So what you've got is Machado saying he's visiting 4 cities. Now he goes to Chicago Monday, December 17th. He goes to New York Wednesday, December 19th. And then he's in Philadelphia Thursday, December 20th. Where was he on Tuesday, December 18th?
I don't know. So tell us, Ruga. This is what the people want to know right now. Is Machado going to be a Pirate? Tell us the news.
Okay, well, they would have to really sell him on the Pirates. There was somebody saying that he was seen on Instagram Live with Greg Polanco working out yesterday, and then the video was taken down because Polanco got blasted with people asking, is Machado signing with the Pirates? So he took the video down. Right now, I don't have a definitive answer for anyone. I just feel like this is a situation. Yeah, well, this is a situation where the Pirates have interest in Machado, and they're kind of waiting in the weeds for the number to be right.
What's the number? What do you think is a number that the Pirates could realistically bring him in for, and Machado would say yes to?
Okay, so they were prepared.
Let's go. Bucks wants you to break it. Give us your sources and break this, Ruga.
I'm not giving any sources out because then I lose my sources. So
they're coming from the industry.
So here's what I got. The largest offer on the table is an average of $25 million per year. But because that offer's out there, I think the Pirates would need to go like 26 just to kind of one up it. I don't know if the White Sox would continue like that bidding game of trying to one up the Pirates from there. But right now, the White Sox are really the only team that's publicly really in on Machado. The Yankees almost not, and the Phillies have a million other reasons why they shouldn't sign him. So there's got to be, at this point, him not taking the White Sox offer. Like he's just either waiting for another team to be involved or there is another team involved. So that's where we're at with this.
And you know what? So let's go. Bucks has a question, and this is exactly actually where I'm going with it. So his question is, do you think that this would cripple the Pirates in 4 to 5 years from now? So and here's kind of my take, all right, a bit with this. And I'll tell you what, and I'll give the kudos to him. Ethan was on our show a couple weeks ago as well. He writes for the Point of Pittsburgh. He had an article come out today about, more or less like the finances of baseball. And the thing is, too, like, I can get both sides of this. So could the Pirates afford to sign Machado? And that's an arguable question, right? Could they? And
the answer is yes.
Okay, so if they could, even if you can afford them, should you get them? And I think that's the thing about the Pirates. Even if you can afford a Machado, should you get them? Because there's a lot of risk involved, okay? And for a team like the Pirates, the risk is turned up to even a higher level. If the Yankees go out and sign Machado for $30 million a year and it doesn't work out, they go and print some more money, they go out and get another player, right? Now, I mean, it still hurts some teams. I mean, look at the Cubs and Jason Hayward. Like, a team that's spending $200 million is still really hurt by one contract in Jason Hayward. Look where the Yankees were years back when they had to share an A-Rod. Think about one player like that with the Pirates. They go out and they're spending $30 million on one player. 30% of the payroll's allocated to this one guy. And what if he turns into Pujols? What if it turns into, Teixeira, to Carlos Beltran, Josh Hamilton? What can the Pirates do to recover that point in time? They're toast. Now they're working on a $70 million payroll, which everyone's going to be laughing at. They just can't sustain it. So to me, that's where the risk reward comes in. Could they do it? Possibly. I'm going to go with yes, but should they do
it? If they can get them at 25 or 26 million average annual salary per year, they were preparing an offer for McCutchen that was 25 million per free agent season before he took a crap and suddenly lost his prime before the age that players typically lose their prime. So in this situation, replace McCutchen with Machado. That's
Sure.
your superstar.
Sure.
And you pay him.
But also, well, I guess you know what? No, I mean, Machado's still like in his prime, so that's more realistic, because he's coming out early.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is going to be the case is Machado, if he agrees to an 8-year deal with whoever, rather than a 10-year deal, he's going to want an out after 6. So an opt out
long?
after 6. What's that?
You think even that long? I would go even shorter.
Maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah, something like that. So it takes the risk away from a small market team. Why I say after 6 is he'd be 32, so he wouldn't be out of his prime yet. So he could potentially get one more big payday at that point.
Yeah, but like why not at 30? That would be even more enticing as a 30-year-old still coming out and getting another. And by then, who knows what payrolls and contracts will be, so, but I definitely get what you're saying. So let's just put it this way. Machado's a Pirate, right? I mean, it's destiny, right? He has a bobblehead. He's been a Pirate before, so you're saying Machado's going to be a Pittsburgh Pirate.
I'm not going to go out there and say that.
No. This knows about. You're confirming it, Ruga, right? Live on air.
If you need me to confirm it, just for you, I'll do it for you since you're a good friend of mine. Now, with that said, I want to take it to another level. Say he is a Pirate, 2019, that makes the Pirates, all of a sudden, they leapfrog the Dodgers and the Cubs, and they're now the favorites to represent in the National League.
Just because of Machado, you think so?
Machado is a pretty significant player, and as I mentioned earlier, I have the win total a little bit higher than most everybody else. So
you do.
And I have good reason for that. Now, Machado probably adds, if you look at Mercer, he was a one-WAR player last year.
Don't bring him up again. We're done with Mercer.
Yeah. Machado probably adds 5 to 6 wins to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So they're the team with the most to gain.
So you think he's a 6 or 7 WAR player in 2019?
Possibly.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. He can definitely do it. That's why he's asking for $400 million.
Yeah. So if he gives you a 6 WAR, then he's added 5 wins to the team. That takes you above the win total that the Dodgers had last year, and they went to the World Series. It doesn't take you as high as the Cubs and Brewers, but if the Pirates are winning more games and the Cubs and Brewers are winning fewer games. Oh, and the Pirates have passed them already. So.
Well, it's getting real competitive right now, I'll tell you that much. Around the 412 says Mercer to the Bucks at the deadline. I pray to God that doesn't happen. I'm not talking to Detroit at all this deadline. And so Let's Go Bucks says Machado puts this team at 88 and 74, which we'll wait on your prediction soon. But that's Let's Go Bucks says. And Let's Go Bucks also says Mercer is better at blocking people on Twitter than blocking down baseballs. All facts. All right.
True story.
So we'll move on from Machado. We talked about the front office. You talked about Machado. So let's get into some more, in my eyes, more realistic options at short.
Yeah.
Yes, Lowry's gone today. Machado is a pipe dream in my eyes still. But let's start with the first guy.
Okay, so my first guy.
Your boy. You already mentioned him. Your boy, Marwin.
Yeah. Marwin Gonzalez. I don't fully trust him defensively at shortstop, but he's not old.
I agree.
He's still going to give you a little something defensively. And the idea there is you quickly replace him with Cole Tucker once Cole Tucker is ready. That could be some point past the midway point of 2019. That could be June, July 2020. Now, the idea with Marwin Gonzalez is he can quickly transition to left field in the event that Corey Dickerson ends up leaving the team. And even with his defensive shortcomings, he gives you a lot more offensively than Mercer does. Okay.
Well, that's absolutely true. So, and I know we've kind of talked about this on Twitter, behind the scenes a little bit about Marwin. And my take on it is I don't trust Marwin to be that valuable if he's a starting shortstop. Like, his value comes at the flexibility. You know, that he can play everywhere. He plays it good enough. Others, much better than some others. But, like you said, the bat plays. But the thing is, if his bat is really good, but his defense is really bad, like, it averages out. And then, like, he just becomes, like, a Jose Iglesias or a Freddie Galvis to me. So, in my eyes, it's like, why give up this much money for Marwin when you're sacrificing the value that he could, provide, when you could go get, Iglesias for this, less dollar amount, probably less years. You have that stopgap at short, and he's going to give you the same value, So that's my thing. Now, what you said, it does make some sense. I mean, if he can plug in and play shortstop, but then you're looking at this move more for the future and not just so much for this year. Now you got a guy that you can plug into left field if, all else fails or whatever. I can get behind that.
Yeah, so my theory on his defense is, like, he kind of was phased out of the shortstop position in Houston with Correa coming up. And my theory is the more you play him at short, the sharper he becomes. His best seasons were his largest sample sizes defensively. None of them were great by any stretch of the imagination, but he's I hate to do this comparison, but he was the guy who played most of the innings at shortstop last year. You're looking to add wins over what Mercer provided at 1.0 last year. So
the Zerb wants to know, he wants one of us to explain the Cole Tucker hype.
Okay, so
what's your take? Let's have you start, because you've been, as every part, you've been a big supporter of Cole Tucker.
Yeah, I saw his breakout at Bradenton. I love the extra base hit totals. He's never hit the ball over the fence. And then I was there when he and Mitch Keller, it was like early in his Double-A career. Like, he had played a few games before Mitch Keller debuted. I went to that game in Trenton for Mitch Keller's debut.
I remember that. Yep.
And I saw Cole Tucker out there looking smooth in the field. He gets it done defensively. So he's got that locked down. His arm plays there. That was a little bit of a question when they drafted him in the first round, and everybody said, oh, they overdrafted him. His arm plays at short. His range is phenomenal, and he just continues to make highlight plays there. And he's got the focus to make all the routine plays, so he's not giving anything away defensively. Once he gets to the big leagues, he should be a finished product defensively, and that's really something that shouldn't be taken for granted, because we've seen guys that they've got all the range in the world and then they boot the easy play. I was referencing one of them. I compared him to Eric Gonzalez, Ronnie Cedeno. So
that's a really good comp. And like, my whole thing about him too is, like, the glove is, I mean, it's really good. It's a really good glove. And like, if you have a shortstop, I just feel like that's a very important position defensively. And I would rather, like, again, like with Marwin, like, the bat's there, but if you don't have that good glove, I mean, you could really hurt your pitchers out, in the infield and such. But like, the glove plays, the bat's behind, but I mean, they've been saying that from day one. Like, it's projectable. It's going to come once he gains this. Once he gains more mass, and you've started to see it a bit this year, and of course the Arizona Fall League. I mean, he just balled out, but
he doesn't hit the ball over the fence.
Sample. No, but a gap to gap. I mean, that's fine if that glove is what it is, and he can have gap power.
Well, I believe it's more than gap power, because it's so gap to gap, and it's opposite field gap that he's, especially from the left side, his swing is really, really smooth and quick from the left side. It's decent from the right side, but it probably needs a little bit more work. But he's so quick to the ball. He's inside out in balls, like, deep in the gap, in that game at Trenton, he inside out at a ball. He was facing a pretty good pitching prospect too. Fastball inner half, and he inside outs it, drives it. Left fielder makes a great play, like racing into the gap towards the wall. So stuff like that, it shows me there's more raw power than he's taking advantage of at this point. Defense, like completing his defensive game, has been the focus, but the tools are there. Bat speed, hand quickness, that's all there for him to continue to develop his offensive game. And this year, if he goes to AAA or he ends up playing a little bit more at AA, I expect, because he's made so much progress defensively, for him to take his offensive game to start to take it to the next level. That's what I'm looking for out of him this year. And because I see the hand speed, the size, him growing into the lanky frame, he's like now a bigger, stronger guy now. He doesn't subscribe to the loft and launch angle really, but he's
Rick's gonna get him. Rick's gonna get him subscribed this year, and he's gonna break out like Josh Bell and all the other Pirates. All right, well, let's inside out of this topic and move on to our next shortstop as well. So this one's my boy.
Yeah,
wrong boy.
Iglesias.
This one's my boy. So Jose Iglesias. Now, my thing is the talks out. I mean, Marwin's an option. Jose Iglesias, Freddie Galvis, Nick Ahmed, which trash. Don't trade for him. I just feel like the point that we're at, I guess you could, draw straws, but for me, it's Iglesias. What's out there, and now that Jed Lowry signed a 2-year, $20 million contract, in my eyes, there's no way Iglesias can get $8 million or more. I just feel like what Iglesias can bring with that glove, the bat's not there. It's basically Jordy Mercer-ish, but his glove is so much better. And the thing when you saw when Echeverria came over and you saw the plays that he made, and people are like, wow, that's actually what defense can be, in Pittsburgh. You can get that. You can actually have a defender behind you. So it's like you're not losing anything in that lineup by having Iglesias, but you're gaining so much value on the defensive side, which is really going to help out them pitchers, also.
Yeah.
I just feel like, to me right now, it's Iglesias almost or bust. Now, if you want to say Galvis, others want to say Galvis, that's fine. But, I mean, what are your takes on Iglesias? I mean, look at that picture right there.
Okay.
That's a defender.
Yeah.
Mercer ain't doing that.
Yeah, so what I got on Iglesias is this seems to kind of fit a common theme that I've picked up on conversations that we've had recently. The safeness of Iglesias. He's likely going to give you somewhere in the 2.0 to 2.5 WAR range. Whether that translates into actual wins, we'll see. Whether or not it's one win better than Mercer, 1.5, 2 wins better than Mercer, they win 2 more games than they won last year, something like that. But there's other areas that they're going to get wins from. So Iglesias is smooth. He always Are you more high on defensive run saved or ultimate zone rating? Which one?
Good question.
They're similar.
I guess I can't say I'm more on one or the other. It's part of the big picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all a puzzle piece.
Yeah. Well, he rates highly in both, and that's the video you're showing. He's got range. Mm-hmm. Something
Mercer
we
never
didn't really
had.
see much
Ever
of.
had.
Yeah.
Ever had.
Yeah. Nothing like this guy.
So the next one up, Freddie Galvis.
Freddie Galvis.
Let's go Bucks just down here too. Freddie Galvis, 2 years, $18 million. What's your take on Galvis? Why should it be him and not Iglesias?
To me, he is the same exact guy as Iglesias, except he's going to be slightly more attractive to this fan base because here and there he's hit balls over the fence, at a much higher rate than Iglesias.
I love how you just called all them dumb, but okay.
Well,
I know what you're doing, and honestly, it's true.
This fan base is so in love with home runs. There's a way to grind it out and get runs other ways, but just like Iglesias, he's going to give you about an on-base percentage somewhere right around the 300 range. It may be below it. Probably won't be above because I don't think he's ever posted an on-base percentage above 300 in his career. So, but his slugging percentage is generally a little bit higher than Iglesias posts because he hits some balls over the fence. He's hit 20 over the fence at one point in his career. That was in Philly. Last year in San Diego was 13.
And that's
He's
at
hit
Petco.
12 before.
And he had a lot of doubles. I mean, I'll definitely give you that. I think my take on it is just I feel Iglesias is more sustainable where Galvis isn't. I think there's more risk in Galvis, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, if Galvis would hit for a higher batting average, like I don't get it. His strikeouts are high. His swing's good. It's like, dude, what are you doing? How are you missing this many pitches? Because the swing path is good. The bat speed, the hand speed, that's all good. Like from a scouting standpoint, he checks all the boxes and he gets it done in the field. He's also smooth. His defense is very similar to Iglesias throughout his career. Sure, there's been a little bit more highs and lows, but that's why Iglesias is a safer option. But yeah, Galvis. He's almost 30 years old, and it feels like he hasn't reached his ceiling yet. So that would be the reason why, like, take a little bit of risk to get a little bit more reward.
Around the 412 just said Ryan Alexander at shortstop. I'd be down with it. I think Ryan could play shortstop very, very poorly, but let's find out.
Like Jordy Mercer.
Exactly. So all right, now. Some people already talked about this in our chat. Let's Go Bucks and someone else talking about the whole Jordan Lyles, is our fifth starter, if you want to believe it or not. And, I mean, I feel like he's going to be there to compete for the fifth starter. But there is someone who's getting a lot of disrespect this year.
Yep.
His name is Nick Kingham, and the reason his disrespect is no one's really looking at him. Now, let me start this off. I can understand, all right? And the reason I can understand is the same reason we just talked about these other shortstops when you have Kevin Newman, right? And I think the reason that you're not is because they came up, they didn't really produce, and we're in a situation now as a Pirates fan base, right? As a team, as an organization where you went out and made trades for Chris Archer, Keon Keller. Like, you made moves to put this team over a hump. So now you're there, right? We're no longer talking about rebuild. We're no longer talking about like 2021, 22. Like, this is now the moves. Because there's only a window. Keeler's only here for 2 more years after this year. And then Archer, he's going to be free agent then too. Like, you have this window. How are you going to put as much talent around that to do something? So the thing about Kingham is I've liked him in the minors. I was expecting more from this year. I've really liked what he could bring, but we didn't see it. I liked Newman, then I was not so high on Newman. Then this year I was like, okay, maybe Newman could be something. And we saw him in Major Leagues. He's like, all right. I didn't see him produce, so I'm not safe going into 19 saying that Kingham could be our number 5 starter and Newman could be our shortstop. Like, I want to see actual improvements. And then if, like, you're seeing something in 2020, 21, you want to make them full-time, that's one thing. But, like, the thing about Kingham, and I know you'll talk about him, but I'm okay getting someone else because I want a clear upgrade. You talked about wins. Where are the wins coming from? If we really did go into this season getting about 6 to 7 to 8 wins this year, and we got Chisenhall, Lyles, Gonzalez, where are they coming from? And I can't sit here and say that Kingham's going to do it.
He's not the guy who's bringing all the wins for me, but you compared him to Newman, and I got a big issue with that because Newman didn't produce at all. Like, when was Newman ever producing?
Compared the thought process with the same one as Newman.
Well, here's what I got. I was at Nick Kingham's debut, and I happened to follow prospects.
Is there a debut you haven't seen?
Trying to think. Probably not. But, yeah, Nick Kingham, do you remember he retired the first 20 batters he faced with 9 strikeouts? Well, from that point forward, it seemed like it was a struggle for him.
Mm-hmm.
Getting through the first inning without 3 runs across was like an issue. But he still managed to pitch a quality start because he would settle in, find his groove. Even though he was 26 years old, okay, even though he was very veteran from a minor league standpoint coming up to the big leagues, this was still a guy who was breaking into the big leagues. He hadn't actually faced an MLB hitter playing for something meaningful until he threw the first pitch to whoever led off that game for the Cardinals that day. So that's where I have Kingham. And the other thing with Kingham, he earned the second rotation spot coming out of the All-Star break. Do you remember that?
I mean, I'm not going to say if he really earned it. I mean, things just kind of worked out.
He was pitching well at that point.
Yeah, I mean, he was, but
Trevor Williams hadn't hit his hot streak yet.
No.
Joe Musgrove was doing his thing, but it wasn't better than what Nick Kingham was doing at that point. So he comes out and he struts off the mound after Hurdle had this thing during that 11-game win streak where as soon as the starter got into trouble, he was pulling him from the game. He struts off the mound after allowing a 2-run homer in the 7th inning to the Reds. 2 runs on the board, okay. And that's all he allowed for that game. His season really didn't go south, and the fans didn't really turn on him until he was actually removed from the rotation following the trade for Chris Archer. You recall this? He came out, he went 1+ innings, gave up 4 runs to the Cubs, and then
specifically, no, can't say.
Okay, well that was his primary clunker up to that point. He had these outings where he would give up 3-4 runs, and then he would be dominant once he settled in after an early rough patch. But then he went through this stretch where he wasn't being used in September, and all of a sudden he was asked to make a spot start. He pretty much shut down his season. He hadn't thrown a pitch in the bullpen, warming up for anything, or made a start for 16 days. So he comes out, and I think it was against the Brewers, he threw up another clunker. That put his ERA above that dreadful 5 mark. And with those 2 outings being 2 of the most recent outings, I feel like the Pittsburgh fans are left with a bad taste in their mouth.
Sure.
So
sure.
This is
again,
where
I just really feel that, I mean, it can be somewhat warranted because you really want to see this team do something this offseason. And as I said on the podcast before, we kind of said, like, I just don't really feel like the wins are going to come from shortstop, you know, and you don't really gain a bunch of wins from the 5th starter, you know what I mean? So it's like I would rather be an actual, like, move everyone down, get a legit starter if it's a Keuchel, you know, or, you know, get improvement somewhere else, as like Grandal, as you know, we mentioned, like trade Cervelli, get Grandal, whatever. Which kind of leads us to something. There's a question, you know, bringing up Cervelli. Let's Go Bucks wants to know. He goes, you know, any discussion about Cervelli to LA Dodgers? Any chance at Verdugo? Honestly, I mean, we're not getting Verdugo for Cervelli, so it's like, what are you going to include with Cervelli for Verdugo? Is it worth it? You know, Verdugo is a prospect, so are you bringing in Verdugo? Or I don't really see that matched up. I mean, I'm sure they've asked. You know, like the Dodgers seem motivated to want to trade Verdugo, but is it a good fit? And I don't really potentially know if it is. I mean, if you're trading Cervelli, what are you getting? And then if you do trade Cervelli, what are you then in turn going out? Like in my mind, Grandal was a great fit. Now that option's gone. So I just don't know if that's really in the cards. Unless it's I mean, I don't know. Are you trading Cervelli? I mean, you're not going to trade another outfielder. That's why they're trying to get rid of, you know, Verdugo. So I'm not doing like I don't know. I just don't see it being a good fit.
Well, in a Cervelli trade, I would want to get like a sneaky good prospect out of the Dodgers farm system for Cervelli. And the primary reason I would want to see Cervelli traded would be for the potential savings in this year's budget going towards years down the road, like 8 years down the road, in a Machado signing. So I said to a few people the other day that, like, if the Pirates are getting close to a Machado signing, you'll see Cervelli traded. And as of right now, there's not a lot of motivation to move Cervelli, but moving that salary could signal something else going on there. So,
all right. Well, let's go ahead and move on from King and all that. Our last thing seems to be a topic of discussion we talk about often. But you have some pizza takes as well. And I come from Jersey. I myself was born in Jersey. Shout out to Chich's Pizza from Brownbrook. I still remember that. Good as hell.
Yeah.
But you have some pizza takes. What's your favorite type of pizza?
Okay, so they have.
My favorite type of pizza would probably be a buffalo chicken pizza with either blue cheese, like, kind of sprinkled on it. But buffalo chicken's good. It's spicy. So, yeah.
But so, do you like New York style? Do you like Chicago? Do you like some other style? What is it with you?
Social media networks.
With a buffalo chicken pizza, I actually like it Sicilian.
So you're Sicilian? Okay, I can fox with that. I'm more of a New York style though, and it's funny. Like, I live in Jacksonville, and I couldn't find like a really good pizza, and then one opened up. How long was it? Like 8 years ago, maybe. Like literally right down the road, and I love it. But so I'm definitely a New York style. I would consider myself a pizza snob. How about margarita pizza? I have that argument with a lot of people as well. I know Evil Neil talks about it often. I'm a margarita pizza fan. Love it.
Yeah, I had it for the first time like within the past year or so, and it's decent. I didn't think it was anything super special. There's plenty of other pizza that I like. So, yeah. You want to talk about the win total for this year?
All right, so that's what we'll end on. So as you mentioned, you're a little more optimistic on the win total. What do you think the Pirates are at right now?
Yeah, if they went into this season with whoever they have on this roster, well, it's Eric Gonzalez, Kevin Newman, Pablo Reyes at shortstop, whoever they end up giving the majority of those innings at shortstop to, I have them at 88 and 74. That would probably get them a third place finish in the Central. And I have them at this point because they didn't play one game last season. They ended up with 692 runs. They averaged 4.3 runs a game. Okay, that takes them almost to 2015's run total of 697. 2015, they were a plus 101 because they only gave up 596 runs. They have the potential to suppress runs at that rate. I don't think it'll happen quite like that, but they have the phenomenal starting pitching staff that we have. Both of us agree on this. Ranked top pitching staff in the NL Central. Okay, and a bullpen that, if Lyles is in that pen, okay, taking Santana's role, it rivals what the Brewers had last year, where they didn't have great starting pitching. They just were really good at grabbing the lead and then protecting it late. They won 96 games. So this team, Fangraphs has them at 81 and 81, but they have them right at 4.3 runs scored, 4.3 runs allowed. That's not going to – this team is not going to give up 4.3 runs a game. It's just simply not happening. That's why I have them at 88 and 74. I'm being a little bit conservative with this. I'm not going big with this prediction. And the other thing I have on that is Chris Archer is where you're going to get the wins from. Keone Kela, those two guys over the full season, not for 2 months. Chris Archer, we saw him struggle for a month last season, okay? But he's not going to just sit by and watch all all his other teammates potentially, once Mitch Keller's coming up and doing what he does, pitching well on the pitching staff. And he's not going to go out there and suck every 5 days and be the only guy who sucks. He's too competitive for that. So, yeah, that's full season of Chris Archer, phenomenal pitching staff, improved defense, and this team's going to win 88 games. The NL Central is not so good that it's impossible to win that total. The Pirates just need to go into Washington and Philly and play a little bit better.
There you go.
Into Atlanta, yeah, because they dominated NL Central play last season. So they're
88 wins for Ruga. My prediction right now, I have him out 83. But that's that. So
that's a safe prediction.
There you go. All right. Well, Ruga, once again, I want to thank you for coming on. Everyone check him out. Go hit him up at Joshua Ruga. Shout out to Pirates Corner, your new podcast. And we'll have our NS9 wins prediction coming out soon, I'm sure. We'll wait till the offseason slows down a bit. But until then, we'll see y'all we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. And take it easy. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.